I've always been drawn to abandoned places. Not for the danger, not even for the photos, though I've taken thousands. It's the silence. That strange hush that settles over a place once everyone forgets about it. Like the air itself is holding its breath, waiting for someone to remember. I shoot exclusively on Polaroid. Something about the way a moment freezes in your hand, raw and chemical, makes it feel more honest. No filters, no edits. Just time, captured. That's how I found myself standing in front of the Petros Museum of Cultural History at 2:17 a.m. I'd read about it in a dusty corner of the internet, a forgotten Reddit thread buried under dead links and conspiracy theories. The museum had been shut down in the 80s after a fire in the archives and a funding scandal that no one seemed to talk about anymore. The town had quietly fenced it off, kept it guarded. Probably for liability, I figured. But a user posted recently that it was scheduled for demolition by the end of the month. A ticking clock. And for someone like me, that kind of opportunity doesn't wait. The museum grounds were surrounded by a 10-foot fence topped with barbed wire. Not subtle, not welcoming. I circled until I found a sagging section near the southeast corner, hidden behind some overgrown hedges. My heart was racing, but I didn't hesitate. I climbed, tore my jacket on the way down, and landed hard on my ankle. But it held. I stayed low, stuck to the shadows, and made my way to a side door half covered in ivy. It gave with a creak that echoed like a scream in the night. And then, I was inside. The air hit me first. Stale, dry, thick with dust. It smelled like paper and rust and something older, deeper. Time, maybe. Time has a scent if you're paying attention. I moved slowly, letting my eyes adjust. The flashlight on my chest cast shaky beams on old signs, toppled displays, and long-dead exhibits. Most of the placards had peeled, but you could still read some. Wonders of Industry, Cultures of the Ancient World, Hall of Sound. Everything was coated in a fine gray dust like the building had been dipped in ash. I didn't pull out my camera right away, I never do. I like to feel a place first. Walk its bones. Understand the silence. There was something different about Petros, though. The silence here wasn't just silence, it felt full, like the building was still listening. I took my first photo in the main atrium, a grand hall with cracked marble floors and a shattered skylight above. The glass had caved in decades ago, but when the Polaroid printed and I held it up, I froze. The atrium in the picture wasn't abandoned. It showed how it used to look. Spotless floors, light pouring through unbroken glass, banners hanging from the walls, people walking past the lens, a woman pushing a stroller. And then, something else. I brought the picture close to my ear. Don't ask me why. It was instinct. I heard footsteps, distant voices, the low murmur of a crowd. Like the moment inside the photo was still alive. I stood there stunned, for I don't know how long. Eventually, I moved on. Second photo, the Hall of Sound. Half the display was melted from the fire years ago. Speakers charred, wires tangled. But in the Polaroid, everything was pristine. Brass gramophones, reel-to-reel players, old jukeboxes lighting up. When I listened, I heard music, soft jazz, layered with laughter and the hiss of old records spinning. Third photo, the World Cultures exhibit. Most of it had been ransacked or maybe cleared before the closure. But in the picture, it was intact. Tapestries flowing, candles lit. A voice narrated something in French. I heard sandals on stone, the faint clink of ceremonial bells. Fourth photo, the Children's Discovery Room. Empty when I saw it. Graffiti on the walls, broken chairs, a stuffed animal rotting in the corner. But the picture showed life. Bright colors. Kids playing. One kid even seemed to be looking directly at the lens like he knew I was watching. When I listened, I heard them. Children's voices. Laughter. A mother calling for her son. Fifth photo. The archives. Fire damage here was the worst. Charred shelves, melted film reels, ashes still clinging to the floor like snow. The photo showed none of it. Just rows of pristine cabinets, flickering fluorescent lights, the quiet shuffling of researchers turning pages. Every image was a window, a preserved breath of time, untouched by decay. And every sound was faint, like a memory someone else had forgotten to bury. I knew I couldn't stay much longer. My watch said 4:02 a.m. The sky would be light in another hour, and the guards rotated shifts at sunrise. I slipped back through the side door, crouched by the fence, and took one last picture of the building. The Polaroid hummed. The picture slid out. In it, the museum looked like it had on opening day. Lit from within, flags waving from the columns, people milling on the steps. A man was locking the front doors with a ring of keys. And the sound? Faintly, I could hear the museum closing for the night. A chime, a final announcement. The sound of keys turning in a heavy door. I stuffed the photos in my jacket and jogged back to my bike, hidden under a tarp near a drainage ditch. I didn't look back. I just rode. About 10 miles out, I pulled over to a gas station to catch my breath. I took the photos out one by one. That's when I noticed it. The colors were fading, the sharp details blurring. The people in the atrium photo vanished, leaving only dusty marble. The music in the Hall of Sound went silent. The child in the discovery room was gone. The closer I got to home, the more each photo began to reflect what I'd actually seen with my eyes. Abandonment, decay, silence. And one by one, the sounds inside them disappeared. Like the memories didn't want to exist away from the place they belonged. By the time I pulled into my apartment's parking lot, they were just photos again. Beautiful, yes, but silent. Empty. Ghosts with their mouths closed. I've kept them all. They're in a drawer beside my bed, in a manila envelope labeled Petros, May 25th. Every now and then, late at night, I take them out. I hold them up. I listen. But they never speak again. Still, I think it was the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. Like the museum let me see it one last time, just for a moment, before it disappeared forever. And I was the only one who got to hear it say goodbye.